Hi, I'm Rachel Allan. I'm a marketer, speaker, coach, and author. I was a proud facilitator of marketing conversations for the second time and brought myself and 7 other amazing speakers together to talk about marketing, mindset, and business. And this is the recording of one of our speakers. Enjoy. So to give a bit of a background on Sonja, I met her in Sydney at a personal development course many moons ago.
Oh, so long ago.
I know, wasn't it? And she was Melbourne-based, went home to Christchurch, is our very first international speaker for marketing conversations. So happy. And she's doing some amazing work around anxiety and stress relief. She's a teacher by trade, but moved away from that. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to share with us this morning.
Yeah, oh goody. Well, I was having a wee think about this over the last couple of days, and sorry I couldn't jump on earlier, but I was with a client, so I couldn't avoid that, but it was good to jump in. And I think it was a really nice segue from what JJ was talking about around, getting yourself out there. And I know this is all about marketing conversations, but a huge, huge part of what is important to grow a business is your mindset. And I'll start by saying this, and I when I'm working with clients, because I do specialize in chronic stress and anxiety, significant life events, trauma, we can call it just emotional events, but all of these things have an impact on how successful we can be in a business or in life in general. And so if we have blocks around 2 things, fear of success or fear of failure, then they're going to have a massive impact on how well we can grow a business. And obviously, it was probably been already mentioned a few times, and I'm just going to assume here that we talk about when we start a business, we have all these wonderful, great ideas, and yet when you go from a wage earner, where there's so much security, it's so comfortable to go in and to grow and starting out your own business, there's going to bring up a lot of resistance and fears for many people. So I thought today I'd talk about where that fear or resistance may come from. And then I was going to talk about what you can do to overcome those. Because I think unless you deal with the mindset on a regular basis as a business owner, and especially stress, and that, if you've come from a sort of mentality where you like to do everything yourself, that is actually a very dangerous mindset to be in if you're a business owner, because that can lead you to becoming burnt out and stressed and even sick because you've done the very thing that you're probably trying to get away from in your day job. So the first thing I'd like to just bring to people's attention here, and it's so important with anything in life, is the concept of how congruent are you? So how congruent are you in starting a business and believing in yours and its success? Because we think of it like this. Imagine a timeline, like a line, and you've got this desire to want something to achieve it, such as business success. And at the other end, you've got the belief that you can do it, and how strong and congruent are you in the belief? Because the thing is, if we've got this wonderful idea, but we're further down this end of the scale, so we're really stuck in, I want to do this, but I'm so afraid to do it, and we're not congruent, but we don't truly believe that it's possible, then that is going to cause us to sabotage. And the way we sabotage is through procrastination. That is a huge one. And what I've found with working with clients is that procrastination is not often because of fear of failure. It's actually sometimes fear of success. Because here's the thing that comes up for people. What would happen in my life if all of a sudden my business really took off? And that could be that I have to get out there more. And what JJ said, exposing yourself, networking, putting yourself out there. So if you've got all these beliefs and fears that are stopping you from doing that, then you're not likely to do it. So you procrastinate on all those little bits and pieces that you need to do. Now, the congruence aspect comes from this: your beliefs. What do you believe about yourself as a person? Do you believe in your worth? Because that's going to be a huge hindrance to you charging your value in a business. Do you believe in your ability to be able to be successful? Do you believe that there are other people out there in the business world that can help you? Because a mindset that can occur, which can stop you in your tracks, is that fear that if I don't do everything, it won't get done right. And so we'll find ourselves doing some of the menial tasks, such as our social media posts, that we could be paying a virtual assistant to do. So we can be like, oh yeah, but what if they get it wrong? And yet that fear of, well, what if this all works well and you are successful? Then you're going to go, oh no, then I'm going to get overwhelmed, and then I'm going to have to take more responsibility. And then I've got this fear of, oh no, I'm going to have to, more money, looking at your money beliefs. That's a huge, huge part of business growth. Because if we've got fear around, or beliefs around, rich people are assholes, it'll never happen to me, I'm not good enough. If your self-worth is not high, your net worth can't be high either. So that's sort of that's not so much fear in terms of, but it's just more, these are subconscious things that hold you back. So let me explain. Where do these beliefs come from? So from the age of 0 to 7, when we are in the early stages of development, we are little sponges for the world around us. You can imagine a child walking around with this big open brain, looking around at the world around us, looking at what our parents say, listening to what our parents say, getting a vibe off what our parents say, or at school, kindergarten, preschool, all these different environments will cause us to create beliefs about ourselves and the world around us that then become the path of our life. Now, some of these beliefs can just be overcome over time through osmosis, but for a large part of it, and this is the work I do with people when they are wanting to, step out of their comfort zone, build a business, especially, I actually must admit, just right now, lad, I've worked with a lot of women in multi-level marketing businesses and network marketing businesses because of this very thing. They go in there, they're excited, they really want to do this, they love the product, and then when the push comes to shove and they have to start having those sales conversations, all these fears come up. I can't do it, I'm not good enough, they'll think I'm pushy, people must think well of me, I don't want to be judged, I'm afraid people won't like me, especially around family, all that kind of stuff. So then we go, well, hang on, where do these beliefs come from? What do you believe about yourself? And I've just listed a whole lot of these beliefs. So then you've got to say, right, well, we essentially need to change your belief structure and your belief system in order to enable you to then be able to go out there and have those conversations. And I'm going to talk about it in a second about how to have those conversations and deal with the fear. So the first thing you do is then you say, well, let's look at these beliefs. Let's work around and start to really peel back and look at, why do I feel this way? The healing modalities I use, emotional freedom technique and matrix re-imprinting, allow you to do that. But then you've got other ones like Psych-K, which is another really good one. Neuro-linguistic programming is amazing for shifting the mindset, and it's also an amazing tool to develop if you want to have those difficult sales conversations. And I'll talk about that in a second, what a sales conversation is. But so they're the first things you've got to do. Get congruent. Do you believe that you can have the success? 2, get the belief sorted. So really start to identify and look at the fears that will hold you back, because you will sabotage. All right, so I'll take a breath here. So some of the fears that are really common, like I've just mentioned, I'm not good enough, but there's this whole belief around people must think well of me. And it's a really common belief amongst women in business. And I can talk about this because this is a women's, predominantly women's platform here that I'm sharing this information with. So we don't want to be judged, and we don't want people to think we're being too pushy or too salesy. And quite often that's because we are just so afraid of saying the wrong thing. And I have this mantra, and this is part of my journey, which I'll share with people, because I think my journey is probably a really good example as to how when you get your beliefs sorted, how what you say doesn't matter, but it's the how you say it. So, and I'll explain how this works in terms of our energy in those sales conversations. So when we have all this fear, like I was saying, we can then end up self-sabotaging, and that will stop us in our tracks straight away. So then one of my mantras as a business person that I say to people, and if you're in a network marketing business, you've probably heard this one used, but it's this: you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. You can never say the wrong thing to the right person. And if you think about it like that, if we go into a conversation, and I love the fact that JJ talked about that just before, about when you're presenting and you're nervous, you're making it about yourself. How to overcome fear if you're not able to do the beliefs work or work with a coach or a mentor or a healer, I call them healers in my world, is start really tuning in to your why. So why are you doing what you do? What is it that drives you? What is it that makes you, one, be part of the business you're in to start with? And two, the bigger picture. So a way to get around the fear is to spend time every day visualizing your outcomes. Now, two coaches that are really big on this, two, I guess, personal development gurus, I'd call them, Mike Dooley. Now, he is the guy who does TUT, T-U-T, where you get a daily reminder in your emails about, what it is that you need to do to create the life you want. Now, if you're in business and you've got fear, then it's really important to say, well, why am I doing this? And my why is my future projected visualization. And so you spend time, and he suggests 4 minutes every day. Set your timer on your phone and spend 4 minutes really bringing into your mind a picture of you in the future doing what you want to do. Like the successful business, the holidays with your family, the beautiful house, the highly reduced mortgage, the money coming into your bank account. Now, what this does is two things. It puts a new possibility into your brain. It puts new possibilities into your brain. It gives you clarity, and clarity gives direction. But then what also is important to do is then it helps you to identify any fears that may come up when you're trying to get that clarity or you're spending time with your visualization. And it doesn't have to be the same visualization every day. So you spend time visualizing and then notice what fears come up, like, oh, that's never going to happen. Oh, you don't deserve that. Oh, that won't happen to you. Who are you trying to kid? Because that gives you the area to go away and focus on and work on to clear. So the more you start to do your visualizations, the more you start to reduce the fear, and you start to become really, really congruent with what it is that you can achieve. Because the thing that is taught, and there's another guy called Dr. David Hamilton and Mike Dooley, they talk about this. When you do your visualization in order to get yourself out of fear, it gives you the direction to allow you to set the goals for your business. It allows you to set your intentions, which I'll talk about in a second, intention setting. And what it does is, then he says, bring movement into that. Because then you actually embody the vision for your business. And when you embody the vision of your business by feeling it, seeing it, really bringing the emotions in of what you are going to feel when you're successful, that enables you to start living the success as if it's already happened. And when you live the success as if it's already happened, you dissipate fear, because you don't entertain it, because you're like, well, I don't believe that anymore, because I've seen the vision. I've felt into what's possible for myself. And this is probably one of the most powerful things you can do. Now, we're not saying what The Secret said to do, which is sit there, visualize, and do nothing. We have to sit there, visualize, and then go off and do the mindset work if you need it. Really work on changing those beliefs. And then secondly, you take positive, affirmative action steps towards those goals. And on some days where it doesn't feel right to do it, don't do it. Because sometimes it's better just to let go and say, well, hang on a minute, give myself a wee break here. And then the next day I'll pick it up and I'll get on with it. Now, another thing we do is we overwhelm ourselves by trying to do too much. And that just causes fear and overwhelm and stress to take a hold. So a really amazing thing that I learned from Gabby Bernstein, who wrote the book, The Universe Has Your Back, and the Judgment Detox, and she's also the founder of Spirit Junkies and Miracles Now. She says, if you're a business, because what happens is you get the overwhelm, you have a little to-do list a mile long, and then you don't know where to begin. So then you go into procrastination and fear, and you don't end up doing anything. And then you get frustrated, and then you beat yourself up, and it starts all over again. So she said this, and I've been doing this, and it's made such a difference to my business. Your to-do list should have you can have a massive to-do list that you park and put to one side, but your main to-do list should only ever each day have 5 items on it. No more than 5. It's achievable, and it allows you to then work through that to-do list. Now, if you miss something, who cares? You take that thing that you missed and you put it on tomorrow's to-do list and you start again. And she talks about how that took her productivity from, she said she procrastinated because she was just an overwhelm and fear all the time. It's like, I'm never going to get all this done. I'm never going to get all this done. It took her from that into being highly, highly productive and effective in her business. And when she started to see these small successes that she was achieving on a daily basis, that started to see the potential in her own success. And so if we're feeling successful on a daily or hour-to-hour basis, we're less likely to drop into that sense of fear and overwhelm that comes in when we're trying to do too much. So that's a possibility and an action step you can take. Write down 5 things, leave it at that, work through it on a daily basis. Now, I was talking before about fear and what other people think of us. Now, this is a really huge block for people and for business owners. And this was what I mentioned before about my own journey. Now, I think the stuff I'm talking about quite openly is it's pushing the boundaries of what the norm is. And I just to explain, I talk a lot about mind-body medicine, and I talk about the healing of the body through not just in medical intervention, but integrating your healing approach by working on your emotions, your stress, holistic care, everything from essential oils to massage to Reiki, you name it. So I'm very holistic, and I talk about these, and I talk about birth trauma a lot. I talk about the fact that your birth is impacting your life. Now, 2 or 3 years ago when I first started out in my business, I was really resistant to talk about this stuff, and I would not do videos and everything, because I thought, well, people are going to judge me. People are going to say, oh, well, you're trying to tell me that my stress and emotions is the reason I'm sick. And so much fear about being judged, about people not believing what I say. And then what I had to do is I had to go away, and I really needed to work out, well, why am I doing this? And for those of you who are in business, you know why. You feel it in your heart. There was the fear on one hand, but then there was this really strong belief and intuitive knowing that what I need to share with the world is something that's going to help the world heal. And if I don't get this message out there, then people are going to miss out on an understanding and a knowledge that can empower them and help them. And so I spent quite a bit of time with a healer of mine who was based in Melbourne back in the day, working around letting go of that fear, stepping into and knowing in my heart of hearts that what I was doing was helping, not hindering. And it came back to this, and I talking about intentions. If your intention is to serve and to improve the life of others, that is where your biggest driver is going to be. It's never about the money. The money is a symptom of your success. The money is what comes from looking on a daily basis and saying, how can I serve? And when you sit in that space of, well, why am I doing this? And when I'm in that energy of, I just want people to know there's another way, then that enables me to share that message from such a heart-centered place that people hear you differently. And so, I talked about just before about the difficult sales conversations. There's no such thing as a difficult sales conversation when you are in your heart. And I'm going to explain this now. There is research out there now, and you can go on to the Heart Math Institute or go to YouTube and look up heart, as in heart math, as in mathematics. And there are videos that explain the latest research that has discovered that what happens is when we're in fear, we're in our heads. We are in our heads, we are overthinking, we're overanalyzing, and our egoic mind, which is the judging, perceiving, analytical part of the mind, which is masculine energy, is very much trying to sort it all out, figure it all out, have all our ducks lined in a row, goal setting, lots of structure, lots of routine. And what that is it takes us out of our feminine energy. And our feminine energy, and I'll talk about the heart part, the science part of this, is our heart resonance. So when you're in feminine energy, you're in flow, you're in trust, you're in intuition, you're able to make decisions about your business based on what feels right, what you know is going to be the best action step for that day. And the Heart Math Institute has gone on even further to tell us this, and I teach this in my workshops on a big scale. When we're in our heart resonance, and I'll show you quickly how to do this at the end, we are out of fear, ego, we're in heart, we're actually far more able to make the right decisions for the business because we're not overthinking and we're not overanalyzing and we're not in fear. Because the heart is love. Heart is where love resides, and fear is where the ego, or the head is where the ego and fear resides. Now, it's even been, and this is the difficult sales conversation part, it has been proven that when we're in heart resonance and we're speaking from our heart about what it is we offer and how we can help, how can I serve, people hear us differently. Because it's not about what we're saying in terms of the words, it's the energy that we are giving out to the people we're having these conversations with. Because as the Heart Math Institute research has shown, our heart sets out an electromagnetic field of energy that is quicker to pick up and send messages to the environment than our head. So we will feel something before we've even thought it. So we will even perceive something is wrong or something's not quite right or there's something bad's about to happen before we've even thought it, because the heart, with its electromagnetic field of energy, is sending pulses of energy out to everyone around us. So in terms of business growth, if we in our hearts and we connect from that space and then have those conversations and we get to know our ideal client and we get to know their story and their fears and their worries and communicate about how we can serve and solve that problem from them from a really congruent, heart-centered place, then that is going to dissipate the fear and allow us to grow the business in a really impassioned and loving way. So I've been talking for quite a while now, so I'm going to get us to do a little bit of heart math, if that's okay with you, Rachel, because it is a profoundly beautiful process that you can use at any time when you're feeling stressed, afraid, overwhelmed, you name it. And the best thing is you're going to have your eyes closed. So I'll show you first before you close your eyes what you want to be doing. So you're going to put your hand on your heart. And you're just going to slow down your breathing. So just really start to become conscious and aware of how your breath is at the moment. So you slowly breathe in. And if you're struggling to get down into your chest area, that just shows you might be having quite a high level of stress, because people who are very able to drop into calm can often breathe into their chest and their hearts very, very quite easily. But if you're struggling, don't worry, no judgment on yourself here. So when you start to become aware of your breath, you can close your eyes and just imagine on your next in-breath counting to 6. When you reach the top of your breath, just let it fall out. And on the next in-breath, count to 6 again. Now we're going to find our joy, and what joy does is it takes us out of our head and our egoic judging mind, puts us into our heart. So finding your joy involves bringing in a picture or an image of something that makes you feel really, really good. Something that brings real joy into your life. Could be a puppy, a dog that you own, animals. Could be a past event that you've experienced where you just felt, when you're in flow and everything's awesome. Children. Whatever it is, it makes you feel really, really good. And you want to bring that image into your mind and look at it And then start to feel into how it feels to be, or how does it feel to look at that image or be part of it. Even start to bring a smile into your face. How good does it make you feel when you are experiencing that joy? You know, I get like goosebumps and down my arms, and I feel butterflies in my stomach. And you feel it in your heart. Now that image that you brought up, don't worry if you didn't bring an image up, just set the intention of feeling joyful. Intentions are really powerful because they're more about, rather than setting a concrete goal and working towards it, intentions are more of a discussion and a knowing, a deeper knowing that everything that you desire will eventually come to you. And just remember this, if it's meant for you, it cannot pass you. So if you're in business at the moment and you're struggling with your maybe lacking patience, or you want it to grow faster, just feel into your joy and remember your why. Because it will come to you. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So there you go. So I think I'll start to summarize where we are. So that coming into your joy when you're in fear or overwhelm, especially if you're overwhelmed and you're really busy. One of my biggest lessons as a business owner of late is actually sometimes just doing nothing. Just doing nothing. Relaxing, having a hot chocolate, reading a book, being in your feminine energy. We actually manifest and create when we're in feminine energy. Create the visualization. Find out how congruent you are. How much do you want it? How much do you believe you can have it? Work on any underlying beliefs or triggers that might be holding you back, any fears of success or failure. And then do the daily visualization. Do the daily intention setting, five tasks a day, no more. Now, just so you know what I do, I work on the belief structures. So those 0 to 7 years, I help you go back, even if you don't remember, we never forget. And I help you find out where your beliefs came from. A lot of them come from our birth experience. If we had a birth with a lot of intervention, instead of just 100% natural. So I can help you discover whether that's where you got your beliefs from. And then I work with you to not only clear the beliefs, but I shift your energy. So instead of having an energy of fear, you have an energy of faith, trust, and congruence, which then, and this is why you can have those difficult conversations, you're able to communicate from that place where people hear you and they know that what you've got to share is potentially important to them and they want to work with you. So that's how I work, and I work online. So even though you're in Australia, and I'm happy to chat to people, that's what I offer. So I just say the most important thing you can do is visualize and clear the beliefs or any blocks to your success. And there you go. Hopefully you found that a little bit interesting today. I've been really grateful for the time, and I'm looking forward to tuning into the next few conversations. And yeah, have a lovely day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sonja. I know there's been quite a few people making comments about how great you are, how awesome it was. And I think, mindset is the absolute first place to start before if things aren't working for you in your business, it's usually because it's in here.
Yeah, 100%.